Okay, we are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. We are live, we are live, we are live now. Let's pin that. Great topic pinned already. Let's wait for you to come. Okay, I'm holding on. Austin, I see you. Mine, I see you. We are live, we are live, we are live, we are live. Mine, I see you. Okay. Right, everyone. Welcome. Let's get some music in the background while we wait for others to join us. Aisha Yusufu is standing by. This is one of my favorite songs. It's Simi's Duduke. I think it's probably going to be my all-time favorite. I absolutely love the song. So while we wait for more people to join us, let's just, listen to that in the background. Nanji, thank you for joining. I see you. Hi, Queen Juliet.
Just let me tell you, I cannot wait to see you. You are the treasure I've been waiting for. Do you know how much?
Hi, Uju. How are you doing, girl?
I dey pray for the day when I can finally meet you. You know, say every day I dey pray for you. Oh, in my heart to get to find a place for you. That's why my heart is a beat like you can do. Cause now you are choose I am family, I sing for you when I be like you can do. Baby, now you are go big.
We are live, we are live, we are live. It's the Queen Rita Show. We start off very soon.
See, I may not give the world to you, but
Aha, my guest is here already. Aisha Yusufu is online, so we'll take off in a minute. Let's just wait for a couple more people to join us. And we move. Every day I pray for you. Yes, I'm obsessed with the song. I can't help it. Hey, Joey, Juliano, I see you guys. Don't worry, we'll not waste time. We'll start very soon. We have 1 hour time mark with Instagram, so we'll take off very soon. It's okay from Canada. Thank you so much, girl. Hello, I see you, sis. Thank you so much for joining.
I sing for you, my baby.
Queen Juliet, yes, I love you too. Let's get going. I want us to get straight into the conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. It is the Queen Rita Show live on Instagram, and I'm glad you're able to make it. More people are joining, but we cannot wait for everybody to be on board before we get going. So yeah, they will come in as we go. We have a really important topic to look at today on the show, and my guest, boy, I'm so glad she did us the honor of joining us today. Aisha Yusufu, an activist, a Nigerian through and through. I'm going to leave her to tell you about herself, but let's see. Let me get her to join in live, and then we can just get the conversation up and running. She is one of the conveners of Bring Back Our Girls. Something I need to put out here is the minute I told Aisha Yusufu about this conversation and I said, I want you to be my guest, she said straight up that, look, because you see, I love what the youths are doing right now, but this is their own effort, and I don't want to take the glory for what anybody is doing. I am a Nigerian citizen. I support what the youths do, but this is not me, and I don't want to take glory for that. And that's so very thoughtful of you, Aisha. Aisha Yusuf, my special guest for today. Thank you so much for making out time from your busy schedule to join us. Thank you so much, my sister. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Wonderful. So yes, I have to just get that off the line so that people know pretty much that, look, you're not here to speak on certain issues. Yeah, it may come up, but that's not the main focus of our conversation for today. We've had the privilege of, I've had the privilege of hosting you on radio before, and I do know, I follow you, so I know most of what you have done. But for the benefits of all those listening and for the record, I would just like to say that Aisha Yusufus is a social justice advocate. She is a Nigerian. She is an activist. Since when did she start activism? She will be the one to tell us. But most of us know her dating back to the days of the Bring Back Our Girls protest. She's a co-convener, and she's been tenacious. There's one thing for you to hear people about something, and after a while they kind of just go away, which is why we're talking about not being overwhelmed when you're speaking to power. Aisha, once again, thank you for joining us, and a good morning, a good evening to you. I'm a morning girl. I'm used to hosting morning shows.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here. And my name is Aisha Yusufu. I am an active Nigerian citizen. I like to describe myself as that. I'm somebody who doesn't like to do labels. And my mom says in my court, nobody wins. I say it as it is. Sometimes when it favors you, you might like it. And if it doesn't favor you, you might not like it. But then here, it's still the same thing. For me, I've always been like this. When people ask me, oh, how do you get the courage to speak? I'm like, is there any other way to speak other than this? This is how I've always been. And in case of asking me when the first time that I took part in activism, it was actually in 1992 in a protest when I was in the university.
1992. What was that protest about? So let's start from there. That's the first time you took part in activism. Well, what was the situation? What happened? Why did you have to get involved in activism at that particular time, 1992?
I was in school. That was my first day in the university. And honestly, to God, I don't even know what it was we protested against. But I know that we went out to protest, and it was one in the night, and the following day again we did protest, and the next thing they closed down the school, and we were all supposed to go back home, and we all had to go back home. But I do remember that was the first time I did that. I took part in a protest.
Wow! At this time, you were in which school, studying what subjects?
So I was in Usman Danfodio University, and I was doing a matriculation. That's what they call the what do you call it now? Before your first year, when you're doing some
pre-degree. Pre-degree.
So that was what I did. But then I didn't finish from there. I left Usman Danfodio University, and I went to College of Arts and Science in Kano, where I did my A-levels. And after my A-levels, I started medicine in ABU Zaria as a level 2 student. And then, of course, there too, we had our series of protests. Even then, they would say that, oh, medical students normally don't.
Yes, you were a medical student and you were involved in protests.
Absolutely. I was a medical student there, and I was involved in protests. My set were very stubborn, and we were the ones that produced the first medical student as SUG president, Eddie. But then, unfortunately, again, I left ABU Zaria after the killing of Professor Bandipo, and I went to BUK, where I finally finished. And I read BSc microbiology, and I'll come back to ABU again. I came back to ABU again, and I did my MSc in pharmaceutical microbiology. I actually started my PhD in 2007. But I was having issues with my my supervisor over the topic of the thesis, and after a while, I just left it because I knew I was never going to work anyway with it. But I do regret doing that. I would have just stayed on. I would have had a PhD now. Now I don't have a PhD.
Never too late, Dr. Aisha Yusufu. You can still know that, and we trust you can do it, really. So it's good to know. For those of us who were a bit active in politics while we were in school, I was in student union government, and one thing I know for sure is when you want to talk about activism, you're looking at engineering, arts, and all that, it's very rare that you will see people in medicine getting involved. So yeah, it's something that probably has been in you for a long time. At what point, how do you get involved? How did you get involved with the Bring Back Our Girls movement?
So before I come to the Bring Back Our Girls movement, I would just like to say that I've always been this way all my life. I've resented injustice, and always been very vocal, and it got me into a lot of trouble, especially with my parents, especially with the elders. And you know, it was just like, what kind of a child is this? But one thing I always knew was the fact that whenever even my parents needed somebody to settle them, somebody to say the truth when they were having issues, they would come to me, because definitely they know I'm going to say it the way it is. So I learned, and then the person that the truth favors will be happy with you. The person that the truth did not favor will not be happy with you. So all of that. So within my circle, people who know me wherever I've always been, they are not surprised at what they see today, because they know that's the kind of person I've always been. I've never been afraid to speak my mind and let what I think about things be known. In the case of Bring Back Our Girls movement.
Bring Back Our Girls.
Yes, Bring Back Our Girls movement. In December 12, 2013, I turned 40. So on my 40th birthday, I said to myself, I am the problem of Nigeria. I am the problem of Nigeria because I have not been speaking on Nigerian issues. I grew up as a child hating Nigeria, and I grew up a very angry teenager. You see what is happening on the street today? If it was during my time, oh my goodness, only God knows what I would do. I was crazy. I was mad at Nigeria because there was so much suffering. There was so much corruption. I grew up very poor. I would go to school in the morning without breakfast. Coming back home, I wasn't expecting lunch. I wrote my SSC in 1991, the same exam that Chibok girls were writing when they were abducted. And at that moment, I used to go out. I was begging people to please give me textbook. I remember asking for one chemistry textbook called Ababio. I begged people
Ababio.
I couldn't get it. I begged people to give me that textbook so that I'll be able to get an A. Nobody gave me. And I said to, and if I had been taken away in 1991 when I was writing my SSC, my parents would never have been able to say anything, because they are poor. And when you're poor in Nigeria, you are faceless, nameless, and voiceless. And so for me, when I grew up, so the first thing I had to do was to work on my financial independence. Because as a poor person, the biggest crime you can have in Nigeria is to be poor. And as a poor person, you are not seen as a human being. And I didn't want that. I grew up very determined. I remember in 2014, my mom called me and she said to me, thank you for dreaming for the whole family. Because then I had big dreams that they would wonder, where is this coming from? So when I started, I had achieved my financial independence. And I said to myself on my 40th birthday, that if God gives me another 40 years, I'm going to devote it to Nigeria. And I said, I'm going to start talking on national issues. I was looking at working. I said my area was going to be education and, of course, women empowerment, entrepreneurship, and all of that. Buniyadi happened. When they did the protest for the morning of the Buniyadi, I watched it on TV with my husband. And I said to my husband, if I had known when they were going to do this march, I would have been part of it. And of course, 4 months after 4 months and 2 days after my 40th birthday, Chibok girls were abducted. So, and on 30th of April 2014, when they called for the march, the physical march, I was there, and that has been it. And for me, since then, I'm like, I'm going to give the next 40 years of my life to Nigeria, and it's only by December, it will only be 7 years that I've given to Nigeria.
So you still have at least 33 years to go. Hopefully,
God give me. Yep.
Now I do know, following you, being someone in the media, I know that this has not been easy, which is why, I decided to coin the topic this way. For instance, when you were on our radio show, somebody called in and said, oh, this woman, you are angry because the government have not compensated you. All kinds of things have been said to you in the line of the struggle since when you started, and you kept on. What is that motive? What is the thing that keeps you going?
The thing that keeps me going is the fact that the only person who is allowed to make me angry is myself, and I choose what I get angry over. No other person has the power to make me angry. And so when people, even the person that said, I'm looking for an appointment, that's even quite nice. People look at me and they call me a prostitute. I'm like, yeah, I have one customer and he's in my house. So what's the big deal? Honestly, I'm telling you. So I say to
Nice
people,
one.
for me, whatever people say about me is their opinion of me, is not my reality. If I do not get angry when people praise me, I have no business getting angry when people insult me. It's their opinion, it's what they think about me. If somebody comes and say, Aisha, you're stupid, it means to that person, I am stupid. But it doesn't mean that I am stupid, because I know myself and I know that I'm not stupid. And the thing, when I
Right.
look myself in the mirror, I know who I see, and I'm happy with the person that I see there. Every day of my life, I live my life to the fullest, because I don't expect that the second I have this next second or the following day. This is the moment I have, and this is the moment I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to speak my mind to the fullest. And so when I sit alone and I'm within my own thoughts, it's only me and my thoughts. I love the inner peace I have inside, because every one of us, we have a moral compass. Whether you're doing good or you're doing bad, no matter what the world is saying, there's a moral compass in you that tells you whether you're doing good or not. And I feel good with what I'm doing. So I don't care what people say. People can say what they want to say. I don't seek validation from anybody. I don't want anybody to like me. If you go to my Twitter handle, you see that I say you would either love me or hate me, and either one is perfectly okay.
Either one is perfectly okay, you said. Now, there are a lot of youths who look up to you, right? If you look at the timeline so far now, all the tweets are coming, you're our hero, mama youth, mother of the youth, all kinds of, and calling you mother of the youth is not out of place. You do have a youth as a child, biologically speaking, right? They also see you as somebody they look up to. And let's talk about the girl child now. You have been able to sort of grow a resilient skin in fighting for the cause of the average man on the streets, And I'd like to ask again, I know you sort of said it that, things just bounce off you. You have grown to the point where you don't seek for people's validation, right? Now, for a young girl who is watching now and saying, I don't ever think I can do this. What do you say to her?
What I say to her is that you were created to be in a particular space on this earth, and nobody has a right to that space. You have a right to that space. Own it. Do what you want to do and what makes you happy and what makes you fulfilled. Don't allow yourself to be tied down to the expectation of society. Society will put all sorts of burden on you. Create your own world. Enjoy your own world. And just let it be about you. And that's very important, because especially for the girl child, there's so much expectations put on the girl child. You should be this, you should be that, you shouldn't do this. No, break all of that shackles. Ensure that whatever you're doing it, and you know within yourself is the right thing to do. Like I said earlier, every one of us, we have a moral compass. Let that moral compass be your guide. Let it tell you when you know you've done well. And most importantly, let people say what they want to say. The only time that you should be angry with them is if they ask you to borrow them your mouth so that they will say what they want to say about you. Otherwise, just let them be. After, it's better for you to do what you want to do, be happy in yourself, and then they can talk, rather than you to be miserable, do what they want to do, and not be happy in yourself, and they will still talk. So the talk will still go on. So why don't you allow them do the talking while you do the living and the feeling happy and feeling joy?
Interesting. I'm going to apologize if I ask you the next question, because you have specifically said, or rather not apologize, but clarify. You said specifically to me, when it comes to NSAS, EdSWAT, anything, I am just an ordinary citizen who saw what the youths are doing, and I decided to go out and support them. And you've also seen that in some way the youths, they look up to you, and there's so many of them online now watching and expecting to hear something from you as regards what is going on right now. You have been out there. You have also been vocal about that. I joined your last conversation about what you would do if you were president concerning this particular protest. How would you respond to Nigerians? Let me now put that same question to you, Aisha Yesufu. You're Madam President, and the youths are all out there complaining about SARS, and now the government decided, no, but let's take them out, we will dissolve them. maybe not the first time such a statement is being made, right? But now we're going to give you SWAT, and the youth says, no, we're still out in the streets, they're still demonstrating. What would be your recommendation? What would you do if you were in position, you're Madam President, what would you have done?
At this moment, I'm going to sack the IG. I will sack the IG. Every CP in any state that the protesters were attacked would immediately be redeployed. I might likely sack them, but I will look at the implication, whether sacking the IG of police and immediately sacking all of those things we have any kind of implication in terms of security. Then the next thing, I'm going to do a broadcast, a live broadcast, and say to all the youth, apologize to them for what has happened and the fact that I didn't competently handle the issue in a way that it shouldn't have degenerated to this moment. I will then immediately in Abuja call for a town hall meeting. I'll probably use Transcorp Hilton. They have a big floor and a big hall. Get all the protesters that are there to come over there. Of course, we ensure they'll search and everything in terms of putting security in place. They come in there and we'll do a live address while I listen to them. I'm going to spend the first 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, just listening to them speaking about what has happened, what they're going through, the pain that they just allow them air their pain. And then I will speak to them and give them an execution plan, the things that I am going to do. And I will make sure that they know that I have their back. And when I say something, I mean it. And I'm not going to be the kind of president where I will say one thing and do another thing. The moment I'm done with Lagos, the next place I'm going to go to, I'm done with Abuja. The following day, I'm making that announcement. I'm coming to Lagos. For the next 1 to 2 weeks, I'm going to go around the hotspots of this EndSARS movement, and I'm going to meet the youth, and we're going to have what I call town hall meetings and hear from them. Immediately, I'm going to constitute that panel that is going to investigate the police that have been accused of this heinous crime, and so that immediately we will have them being prosecuted. This is going to be a very expedient kind of work that needs to be. It's not something that we need to slack on. Then the next thing, of course, while that is happening, I'm going to set up a truth and reconciliation panel, like an Oputa panel, like what the South Africans did, so that we'll have victims and perpetrators coming together, where a lot of people will come and air their pains. And we're going to dig this back to as far, even if it's 30 years ago, we're going to carry everything back. But let people come and talk about the atrocities that were meted on them. And we will have people so that they can have closure. The state will apologize to them. And then we'll begin to prosecute. For those who have been victims, we'll begin to draw up a report name, and with names of all those that have been victims, whether they have been killed or those that have been maimed. There are some on wheelchair and everything. We find a way of compensating them. But before then, there's also something. The recent protest victims, I'm going to write a handwritten letter to every of the families, signed, written by me and signed, to apologize about what has happened. And then, of course, while the panel is going on, there's going to be an overall reform and overhaul of the Nigerian police force, so that, and this culture of brutality that we've had in the Nigerian police force, we are not going to have another management system to ensure that it is no longer this way that they go about. We have to change the fact where this culture of brutality is entrenched in the Nigerian police. We have to stop all of that. And then, of course, we go on to have a constitutional backing towards policing in Nigeria, so that all of this, all the other kind of the police force that we've had, or from the colonial era up to today, where they feel they can be used to squash other people, will no longer be that. We will have a collaborative police force that has to work hand in hand with the people. And in doing that, I must ensure that there will be recruitment that of police into the Nigerian police will be based on competence, character, capacity, qualification, intelligence. In every country, the people that go into the police force are high-standing members of the society. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, it is the dregs of the society that mostly go into police force, especially at the low entry level. Because you find out that in families, many people, what they normally would do is that, oh, if there's somebody who is not doing very well, either who is stealing or who is smoking or who is into drugs, they will say, go and put him in police. That culture has to stop. yeah, that's what how normally happens in family. They say put him in police or soldier. That culture has to stop. We now must have upright, fine-standing members of the community being in the police, Nigeria police, of course. And then we'll no longer even call them force. It will be now, we will now have community and state policing, whereby you have maybe Kaduna Police Department, Lagos Police Department, Kano Police Department, Edo Police Department, so that every state governor will not be a real chief security officer, where the police, they are answerable to them, and that's what they're doing. And all of these, of course, have this restructuring that would ensure that we restructure the whole security system that we have, instead of everything being under the commander-in-chief. We'll put all of this so that state governors will also be able to handle some of the responsibility.
Wow.
I'm not a president to already have a plan. The one that is president has not even started thinking of plans.
Let me drink water.
I know.
I said all the bread that I can handle. Okay, but you,
I hope this is not.
I can hear you loud and clear. Okay. You have marshaled out, very, very straightforward point. You said you're going to fire the IG, you're going to call a town hall meeting, you're going to address the youth, you're going to set up an arbitration panel, you're going to send handwritten notes to affected family apologizing, you're going to reform the Nigerian police, and you're going to remove that word force from the name.
Yep.
You said that specifically, and then you're going to say recruitment should be based on competence, merit and competence and character, not who no fine work, go and join police. No, you are not a talent. No, that's not a dumping ground. And I think these are really, really key issues. Now, so far since the EndSARS protest started, we are in Abuja. I'm in Abuja. I'm not sure about your location, and I don't want to go into that, right? One thing that the Abuja security have said now, the security, Abuja security have said that, no more protests because you are not adhering to COVID-19 guidelines. That announcement came out yesterday.
So Abuja has security committee. Where were they when people were being kidnapped from neighboring for settler towns? Where were they when citizens, hoodlums are coming, bandits are coming to attack and carry people away? So it's all of a sudden that we know. So all the time that politicians have been floating their thing, where have they been? We saw the barrier, all of the barriers that have happened in, even in the midst of COVID-19. Many people still congregated and see where have they been? Well, the main fact of it, the matter is the fact that the Abuja FCT minister, FCT minister, which for me, I keep saying I don't even know we have an FCT minister, because what we have is not an FCT minister. We have what was the word now? The person that received, like a bellboy that receives visitors. So he escorts, it's an escort we have that escorts the president to the airport.
No, well, he's the minister of FCT, just not elected, right?
He hasn't been effective. He hasn't been effective. So it's not by minister by word. You have to be minister in action. You can't just have a title and then nothing about you is being felt, only or certain things. Well, to come to it, he doesn't have the right to stop a protest. And that's he should know that protest is allowed constitutionally, and we're doing that. And you see quite a number of people there. They come with their masks, they put on their hand sanitizer, and we do that. And then schools are already open anyway. What is happening in schools? What are they doing over there? What are students doing inside school? So they should just look for other excuses other than that.
Okay, now let's talk about being focused. When we started the conversation, I asked, how do you keep up? Because this is without being overwhelmed, right? Now, the youth started this protest, like you said, the first day I saw you addressing a couple of youths. I think that's where that iconic picture was taken. Everybody's crazy about that picture. I need to find the photographer who took that picture. I really need to see that photographer, Now, but no, getting back to the topic, exactly. you said something strategic. You called out people and you said, we say we want change, but people don't come out. And you said we are cowards, right? And that is why people don't come out. And now we have the people out. But one thing, you have been consistent. And we don't encourage people to go violent or go on the streets when it's not necessary. But it's easy. In one of your statements, you also said it's easy for them to get distracted. How can, this be like a focused movement so that they get, they've given out 5 points. Now, talking about the NSAS protest, they've given out 5 key things that they said they want the government to do before they can say, yes, you have listened to us, right? The government so far, as of yesterday, they have said, okay, the state governments should go ahead and do something about setting up a committee, making sure that those who are aggrieved are, appeased. I'm not sure how, but of course, we're going to find out. But you specifically said something that, why can't we have, what's the word you use now? Why can't we have like a plan that has dates to say at so and so time? How can the youth hold the government accountable to deliver on these promises? That's the question I'm heading for.
So thank you so much. And so I love that question, because that's what a lot of people are missing and what we're still telling them. And that's why I talked about the execution plan with a time frame, so that you're able to say, this is what you're supposed to do from this time to this time. And if you don't do it, the youth will be able to hold you accountable. They haven't seen them. On the where you saw me talking about where I was addressing, I know that video went viral, where I was addressing the police and also citizens, and I said they make excuses, and excuses are like shoes. You always find the one that fits. That was on October 1st. Yeah, that was on October 1st, and some citizens had come out to make demands against the bad governance. And then on the iconic picture, of course, there were quite several people who took that iconic picture. They were different, but they are similar. There is one, Ibrahim Usman, he's known as Morocco. And then there's another guy also. So the pictures are quite similar. But that particular picture, yeah, it's more than one person that took it. So it depends on the one that you're seeing at a particular time. That particular picture, I took it. When I was at the protest, I was at the back all throughout. I stayed in the sun for hours. There were times I could feel the sweat dripping on my body. We sat down on the tarmac. And sometimes, one time I had to sleep, because the day before I really didn't get enough sleep. And we were all there till the evening. Then the next thing, the police set up themselves and cocked their gun. They put themselves together. They wanted to attack the protesters. That was when I went to the front and I raised my hand, and they were behind me. And after a while, I started talking to the police, and I said, if you're going to shoot them, you're going to have to put a bullet through me first to get at them. And so we did that for over an hour, and then the police stepped aside. And so when I saw for almost 2 hours, like 2 hours after the whole thing started, they had lost they were not sitting down, everything was quiet. So I went back to go and pray. So in the process of when I finished praying, and I was a friend of mine brought in smoothie, and I was collecting the smoothie to drink. That was when they shot they threw the first canister, and they started shooting. And of course, everybody disappeared. And I was all alone. And I just raised my hand and I walked out slowly. I don't know, that those pictures haven't come out. Though there was somebody that we met later on that came back that had that picture, but I don't know, he hasn't released that picture. I didn't see it. Was my friend that saw the picture. And she was like, Aisha, that picture is something else. Because as I raised my hand, all the police were now following me. They were shooting at me. And then they couldn't run after the other protesters. And
they shot at you?
Yeah, they did on Saturday. I tell you, as I was walking, I was bracing myself for the impact. Either a bullet entry to me or a canister of this thing hitting me. Some came quite close. But how I didn't get hit, honestly, as I'm still sitting down with you, I don't know. How I did.
Maybe they just meant to scare you. They were not targeting to shoot you. That could be.
I don't know. What it is, I don't know. But what I knew first that I wish I was in control was that I'm not going to run. Even if I'm going to die here, I'm going to die standing with my hand high up. And that was how I came out. The moment I came out, 4 policemen came after me. They were carrying this bottled water. They were using it to hit me. That was why people thought that I was being beaten by police, because initially the first tweet that went out with that, police were attacking Aisha, but they were throwing it. It's only one water bottle that touched me a little bit. And then one of the policemen came at me and he was cursing me in Hausa. There's something they call Ashar. It's this kind of re-cursing. And I looked back at him and I cursed him back. And I could see at that moment that there was a bit of fear in him, in his eyes. And I'm sure he was wondering, why is this woman keep speaking when we had that? So after that, you know, I just walked away with my hands up. Then some few of the protesters, some of them now joined me, and we were walking away. Then police went to the other side and they started shooting at the protester on the other side of the road. But having said that, let me come back to the main issue. You know, when you talk about that,
yes. How do they make sure?
5 demands, right? And people are asking,
right,
why are the protesters still in the street? These demands, none of them have been met. For every time the protesters have been in the street,
SARS has been dissolved. At least that's one, right?
Hold on, SARS have been dissolved. SARS are still on the street. SARS in Lagos yesterday, they were talking about SARS going to people's houses and arresting them. SARS are still on the streets arresting people, and they said they have been asked to come back to Abuja. They haven't moved. So which SARS have been dissolved? In the meantime, SARS was dissolved in 2017. SARS was dissolved in 2018. SARS was dissolved in 2019. I think January this year, SARS was dissolved. And this year again, now SARS has been dissolved. Let me read out something to you. On the 3rd of June 2019, the president tweeted from his handle. You can check that at any. He said, "Today I received the report of the presidential panel on the reform of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS. We constituted the panel as a result of public outcry and various media reports on allegations of human rights violations perpetrated by officers and men of SARS. The panel, whose membership was constituted by the National Human Rights Commission, was empowered to make recommendations on how to hold police officers found wanting accountable, and also on how SARS and the larger Nigeria police force can be properly reformed." It's a thread. You could go on and read that thread. This thing was on the 3rd of June 2019. The president was given a report on how to reform. What has happened? People have been killed from there till now. SARS are still operating. The same SARS that they disbanded since 2017 is still on. So that's why the young people aren't going anywhere. These are mere talks, these are mere rhetorics, and they're tired of the words. They want to see action. In the case of protesters, they demanded that all protesters that were arrested should be released. They haven't all been released. Some are still being arrested. Today, we are hearing reports of 2 people have been killed in Benin City. We heard reports of a shooting in Jos, killings the day before yesterday, killings in Lagos. So military were used to attack protesters in National Assembly. Even the day that the president was making statement that SARS had been disbanded and is the first step to the reform of police, protesters were killed in Lagos. So where is the sincerity of purpose from this government? They've heard them several times, and what they've said, they've never kept to their words. So you don't blame the protesters being on the streets.
Okay, so that issue of social trust, the deficit there, the fact that the citizens don't trust the government is one of the biggest problems. So you're advocating now that there should be, you know, like a paper delivered that the youth can hold on to say, this is when we will do this is when we will do that, and this is when we'll, so like a timeline pretty much, right?
Absolutely, like a timeline, and also the things that they have said they will do for it to be seen indeed that it has been done. For example, SARS have been disbanded, but SARS are still on the street. Today, I think it's in Enugu, there's a place they call, is it Awuzuku or Asuku? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a SARS office where a lot of people have been said, a lot of people have been killed there, and people are even alleging that many people have been buried in that SARS compound. They were shooting at protesters. So what SARS have been disbanded? Really, you can't say you've disbanded them. It's on paper. Well, the president has told us, the IG has told us, the citizens, that they've disbanded SARS. Can they please now tell the SARS members that they have been disbanded, let them come to Abuja? Because they've not passed the memo to them. They only told us.
Let's look at, you know, we have quite a number of people. I'm quickly acknowledge you all. Thank you. We have hundreds of people watching, and we appreciate you for joining the conversation. So many, you know, comments coming in. This video is going to be live on IG, so you can actually go back and watch it later. I'm speaking to Aisha Yusufu, Nigerian, of course, and she has We actually think she came to limelight from the Bring Back Our Girls protest, and she has really spoken up factually, you know, with all the courage since this particular End SARS, End SWAT protest started, right? You have said, well, the citizens, the youth are still on the street because they do not believe what the government have said, and because they have not seen it being practicalized what the government have said that they would do. Let me ask you this question before I try and see whether I can take some comments online. We don't have all the time in the world. Have you at any time ever gotten to a point where you thought, let me stop, I shall stop, you can't, this is too much, stop? Have you at any time considered quitting this struggle, you can call it that?
No. I made a pact with myself on my 40th birthday, and I'm one who is very passionate, and I can be very, very self-absorbed. And when I'm on a course, I don't look left or right. For me, this is not something that, oh, I can just quit. This for me is everything, because like I said to people, no matter what Nigeria throws at me, I'm not going to give up on Nigeria. I'm going to fight for Nigeria. I'm going to fight for the unborn generation the way I wish others had fought for me before I came to Nigeria. There are many times that I felt that's probably, or I'm standing or out there, that's probably the last day. I might not come back home. I might be killed or something. But I do know for me, I'm the kind of person who lives my life to the fullest every day. I don't leave anything unsaid. I don't leave anything undone. And I don't keep for tomorrow what I can do for myself. That's the philosophy with which I live in my life. And for me, inability to speak because I'm afraid to die, for me, would be death itself. So I always say the fact that to not speak because you are afraid, for me, would be the real death. It will not be just because I can't take in oxygen or bring out carbon dioxide anymore. I've seen a lot of people die, and most times I always have survivor's guilt. I've seen a lot of people die who are much younger than me, and when I see things happen, I always ask myself, why they, not me? And that's why when people hear me talk about that thing that a lot of people use now, where I say that yesterday's survivors, yesterday's victims were once survivors, today's victims were yesterday's survivors, and tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. Who is next? And I always say that those who have died before will not die again, and the next to be killed are those of us that are alive. And I also ask who is next. And I always say to people that the victim card in Nigeria is going around. And being a victim in Nigeria is no longer a matter of if, it is a matter of when. So for me, when I see someone, I'm like, okay, that could have been me. Why is that not me? And so I always have that preparedness. And it's for me something, life is life. And if it's time to go, it's time to go. There are no two ways about it. There are people, a lot of people who have died much younger than I am. There are people who have been killed at this protest who haven't lived life the way I have. I'm 46 years old. By December 12th, I'm going to be 47 years old. Come on, I've lived life, and I've lived my life to the fullest.
Oh no, you are just starting. You are just starting, Aisha. Because we have 1 hour, it's the life. I'm trying to find the temptation of having to restart, but let's try and take some comments that are pouring in. Zen Rock Accessory says this isn't about a paper. We want to see change while the protest is ongoing. You think that is feasible? The change happening while the protest is ongoing?
Absolutely. That's what they are waiting for. First of all protesters being released. That can be done immediately. There are certain things that can be done immediately. Disbanding of SARS, all of them taken out of the road. That can be done immediately. You have people that are still tear gassing people, checking their phones to see whether they have answers written on it and all of that. It doesn't show that anything has been done. Victims, compensation for the victims, and also justice for the victims. That's some of the state governors have already started doing that. That is something that can be done immediately. Arrest of all these SARS officers who have killed people, maimed people, harassed people, and begin to prosecute them and investigate them, and that can be done immediately. So there are certain things that can be done immediately. You can't say to people, oh, first of all, go home before you start doing that, then for them to now regroup and come out again. They know what it is. And one of the things that the youth are already talking about, and for me, I see reason in it, is that they say if they go home now and they don't get this thing done, they don't get it to the fullest, that the Nigerian police is going to come after them with everything. And the Nigerian police is waste them before. They waste them and nothing happens. So they would rather be on the street let the whole world see as their own government will be wasting them, rather than them for them to be wasted under the cover of darkness.
Right. K1 says, ma'am, how do we sustain, how do we keep the momentum? How do we keep the momentum?
Keeping the momentum is by staying focused, is by having strategy. And even for those that are in Abuja, that's one of the things I keep telling them. I say, in everything that you do, you have to be strategic. You have to know why you're doing it. You must not allow emotions to get over you. And you must remember, they must remember that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're not going to get wherever you need. It's something that you have to keep coming, and you have to put your mind on it. Don't carry it away by non-eating. Stay united, stay focused. Always have your plan A to Z. Put your strategy together and do your SWOT. Find what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what are the opportunities and the strengths, and also do scenario building in everything. What can happen? What are the things that can come up, and what are the things that you can put together? They can put together to mitigate it. Above all, also put down their plan of all the things they want. Let them have it ready, so that at any time they're having they know what these are the things that they want, and they put it out there.
Thank you very much, Aisha. Somebody said, Sima, seriously, I think the problem we have is corruption. How do we deal with that?
Well, one of the ways of dealing with corruption is absolutely having a Nigerian police force that is incorruptible. If we're able to do that, that will help a lot. Having a police that is corrupt, they can't do investigation, they can't do things. It's really a bad thing. But most importantly, we must begin to punish bad behavior. Where people are corrupt, somebody is fine. It doesn't matter whether it's your brother, your sister, from your village, your religion, whatever. Corruption is corruption, and they must be, the person must be prosecuted. And we must understand also that corruption comes at every level. It's not only when somebody steals billion that it is corruption. The person that is carrying a paper in the office and carrying it home, and he knows that paper is office paper, it's also corruption. The person that is jumping a red light, that's corruption. It's all about opportunity. If you can jump a red light when you see it, when you have opportunity to steal billions, you'll be able to steal billions. I always give an example. In the year 2000, is it 2000 or 1999? I was serving. I think that was 1999 to 2000. That was when I did my service. And I was overpaid by NYC. I think they did pay 3 payments that amounted to about 8,000 something. Then that was quite a huge amount of money, not too huge, but for what we were getting. And I tried to return it to NYC. If you see the way I faced so much difficulties, both from my fellow corpers and even the NYC that I was going to return the money to. I faced so much hostility, but I insisted on the fact that I was going to return this money. And I remember going to People's Bank, and the manager, I had to make her to sign. I returned the money back to the NYC account, and I came back and I submitted the document at the NYC Secretariat at John Bulo in Golso Road in Kano, because I did my NYC in Kano. I always say to myself, if I had not returned that money, today I would not have the moral justification to talk about corruption, to call out people in office, because I know I have that thing that I've done. So a lot of people that you find that when you're talking about corruption, you're wondering, why is it that Nigerians are not angry? Why is it that Nigerians don't talk about it? Because many of them, they do not have the moral justification to speak about it, because one way or the other, they have been involved in corrupt practices. And those are the things we need to do.
Wow. Commendable, really. Yeah, and it's true. So one person at a time. If we want to see change happen, it has to start with you, right? Josie King says, okay, he's saying, now let me see, what is it you said? Now I'll go back to that comment. You're saying that people are trying to bring in tribalism into this movement, and how should they handle that? People are trying to say, okay, it is this part or that part of the country that is involved in this.
So far, so good. They haven't had any of that issue of tribalism or issue of religion. I think we saw today in Lagos and also in Abuja some of the videos that came out where the Muslim faithful among the protesters were doing their prayers, and then the Christian faithful among the protesters stood behind them and were protecting them. And so this is the joy. This is the joy of it. This is the Nigeria that we want to see. The only part I've seen is where you've had certain organization come out to say they are Northern something something and they want pro-SARS and end-SARS. And then there are some people who came out to say that these groups are not even registered. And you've had the Northern governors coming out to say that they don't want SARS to be scrapped. Well, fine and good. If they don't want scraps to be scrapped, they can carry all the scraps and they deploy them to their people. Let SARS go to Sambisa and fight Boko Haram. We'll be very happy. Let SARS go to Southern Kaduna and fight killer headsmen. We'll be very happy. Let SARS go to Zamfara and Katsina and fight bandits. And the nation definitely we commend them. Where they're going about killing innocent and unarmed citizens is what we say that will not have. So by this, what I would say, if that is to creep in, what they need to do is to know that they have one common enemy and they should focus on that enemy. And that enemy right now is police brutality. And that's what they are focusing. Normally, when people say to me, Nigeria is not united, Nigerians can't be united, I said to them, can we use the problems we have to unite ourselves? We have the same issue of insecurity, issue of lack of good quality education, lack of good healthcare services. We have the same issue of bad roads. We have the same issue of unemployment. Can these issues that are plaguing us bring us together so that we can unite and focus on the issues rather than on fighting ourselves?
Focus on the issues rather than focus on fighting ourselves. That is what you just gave us now. Like the comments are so much. There's so many comments. I cannot acknowledge all of them, but guys, just know that we see your comments. A lot of these comments have said Aisha for president, some say Aisha for vice president, you know, all kinds of accolades, which everyone believe you absolutely deserve. Once when I interviewed you in the past and we talked about appointments, somebody talked about the fact that you're still doing this because you've not gotten an appointment, and you said you don't want to get any appointment. If you are given, you will not accept it. Would you, however, consider running for political office? Will you consider running for political office?
I don't think so. Where I am today, no, I'm not interested. It's a huge sacrifice and a huge burden. For me, it's not because of any I'm feeling whatever. I just feel it's a huge sacrifice and burden that I'm not ready to take on. I'm good where I am, where I'm making demands. As of this moment where I am, not at all. I'm not interested in politics. I'm not a process person. I am more of someone who sees things. This is what you need to do. Tell you what you need to do, and I'm gonna get it done, and I move on. I hate the issue of being bogged down and being accountable to the people. For me, politics and being in public service, it's a huge burden. A lot of people just look at it and think about the fact that, oh, you will have access to power, you have perks of office, you have siren. Those are not the main thing. It's a huge work, and it involves so much. And for me right now, I'm not in a place where I want to give that to Nigeria. I'm sorry.
Okay, we will say for now you're not interested. We're going to add for now to it, because there is this saying that evil thrive when good people keep silent. You are not silent, but they would also say that the fact that if people who have integrity, like you have described with what you did as a youth corps, and people have seen you speak and said, we don't have the time. Thankfully, you're not saying because politics is not good, but because you're not a process person. You're not a process person.
No, not at all. For me, is that for one thing, I've never liked office. I'm sort of, I'm even in my own business, I don't stay in an office. I work from my house. I like, the thing is that I'm this kind of, I think it was Dr. Obeza Kwesili that described. She said, you know what you are, Aisha, you are just a rebel. I love to do things myself. So if I'm the one that put myself, I'm the one that put myself to do it, I will put my all. I'm doing it. But if you are the one making me to do it, I will rebel. I don't want to do it. So for me, is that for somebody to be accountable? Because if I'm a public servant, I have to be accountable to you. I have to listen to you. I cannot talk at you anyhow. I have to, anything you say to me, I have to do yes, ma, yes, sir. You understand? But as an individual, I'm free. I do what I want to do. I just came back from the UK. I spent a year in the UK. What did I go to UK to do? I went to settle my daughter in school. My daughter, my last child was starting university and she was 17, and I needed to just get her settled. And I spent 1 year doing that. Imagine if I was a public servant, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Whether as an appointee or an elected public servant, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm the kind of person that I like to do what I want to do. how I want to do it and when I want to do it. And if I don't want to do it, I'll just stay in my house and I will sleep. So for 1 year, and I remember a lot of people at that moment, they were saying that, oh, Aisha, you ran out of the country. You went to stay away. You cannot stay. You brought Buhari. Buhari has driven you out of, and they were saying all sorts of things. And I said to them, someone said, oh, come and protest now. And I said, I've retired. You people that are in Nigeria. And I kept pulling their leg. Yeah.
Aisha, just so you know, there is another protest going on this chat right now. They are saying you cannot say you will not run for politics. That is the new protest that is on this chat right now. So let's leave that aside because we're almost out of time. We have less than 5-6 minutes to go. The youth we have continuously said, you know, that the leaders of tomorrow, the youths are now feeling now is our time, right? And people have continuously said that even you and I itself, it's not longer us. We are the over 40s, right? Yeah. There are people who are young. How can the youth galvanize? We can see some form of, you know, cohesion here. How can they galvanize this cohesion and be able to put it into political movement and run for offices, get into office and do the needful?
So, like you did say, our own generation, I've already put it, I call us the lost generation. We that were in the 40s, when we were much younger, they say we are leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and now they are still saying leaders of tomorrow. So I'm glad that the youth of today have seen through that light. There's no tomorrow. It is today. You have to be leaders of today. But with what has happened with the EndSARS, I hope Nigeria doesn't remain the same after EndSARS. I hope we change for better, and I hope the resilience they take us through that. We see the way they have been able to mobilize themselves, the way they have raised funds by themselves, the way they are sending, they are helping each other all over the country. They are coming together, they are working. They tell you they don't have leaders, but there's leadership going on. It's not they don't have the leader, one leader, spearheaded leader, followers, but every one of them is a leader and they're working on those. And I think if they take it on, they can do so much in 2023 in terms of houses of assembly, state, senate, House of Rep, governor, even the president who said they can do it. The most important thing is for the Nigerian youth to believe in themselves. And right now, I think they have gotten to a place where they actually believe in themselves. They've thrown away the lies that they've been told all this while, that they can never unite, they can never do anything. They are actually doing it, and we are seeing it. And for me, I'm so proud to be a Nigerian, and I'm in awe of them, and I'm so proud of them. Like I did a tweet the other day, I said, look, what my parents couldn't do for me, what I couldn't do for myself, the youth of Nigeria right this moment are doing it for me, and they are giving me everything to be proud to be a Nigerian. I say thank you to them.
And I'm sure they say thank you to you. One question before I let you go. Do you have hope that things would change for better? That this country will turn around and to be that country that you'll be proud of at some point?
Absolutely. That's why I do what I do every day. And that's why no matter what people say to me, oh, Nigeria, there's no hope, there's nothing. I don't believe that. I see what is happening today. I mean, 3 weeks ago, nobody would have believed that Nigerians can come together and do what they are doing right now under this government, in this circumstances. A lot of people will say, oh, Ojota, because this, because that. Let's see what Nigerians are doing. And for me, it gives me so much hope. And one of the reasons maybe why it is like that for me is the fact that I've never gotten anything on a platter of gold. I've had to work hard. I've had to fight hard. I've been told things were impossible. Even my parents didn't believe my dream. That's why I said to her in 2014, my mom called me and said, thank you for dreaming for the whole family. So I grew up in a ghetto where I had nothing. I was supposed to not become anybody, but I refused to listen to anyone, and I kept fighting and I kept going and see where I am today. And so with somebody like me, I know that if I can be where I am today from where I started from, then Nigeria can be a great nation from where we are starting from. And I always like to tell people that once upon a time in Nigeria, they told us that GSM is not for the poor, but today we see almost everyone.
Aisha, can we shut this video and come back for 10 minutes to round off? Do you mind, please?
Okay, if it's 10 minutes, because you know I have a live program at 9 and I need to.
I know. But let me thank you. Okay, let me thank you and thank everyone who have joined this video. Aisha, you've been amazing. I truly appreciate you. A copy of my book is going to be delivered to you, Queen Rita from the Rough Edges. I just wrote a book. Next month it will be available. I'm going to send a copy to you. What I wanted to do is, so maybe I will give them to you. You can give them out on your timeline at some point. I wanted you to give out some copies. Please do follow the page. Official Queen Rita is the handle. And this will be up on IG Live, so you can always watch it and watch it. Aisha, thank you so much. Thanks everyone who have joined, and please do follow her. You have a 9 o'clock program where you do Let's Talk Naija, right?
Yes, Let's Talk Naija, people.
God bless
9
you.
p.m. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, my sister. God bless you.
With you. Well done.
You know now, I am. You don't say that babe with me.
Yes, so the flow. This is the flow everywhere.
Everyone, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you. Thank you. Aisha, thank you very much.
Thank you. And bye-bye.
Wow, that's our show for today, the Queen Rita Show, live on Instagram, official Queen Rita. That's the Twitter handle, the Instagram handle. On Twitter, it is the real Queen Rita. Thanks everyone for being a part of the show. Instagram is about to shut us down. We have to go. Thank you so much. Bye. Right? Okay, so where do we go to end the video now? Hey, I am looking for it.